A very warm good morning to all of you. I know parts of India is very warm. I was in Delhi last week. It was 46 degrees, and me and Amit kind of moving between buildings and outside, facing a difference of 20 versus 46. Back in Pune this week, far cooler with monsoon arriving. I think things are looking far better. Very happy to see black clouds on the sky. I think that's what Pune is all about. I know we are joining from various locations in India. It's a very warm welcome from VMentor. I'll kind of quickly run you through the plan for the day. So I'll briefly introduce our organization for some of you, and then we will introduce our jury members. Post that, we will start the presentation by our interns, followed by there'll be a short break of about 10 minutes where we will break out, the jury will break out just to review the ratings. And then we will come back. During that period, our team will engage our MSME founders and the mentors. And then we will end. I'm hoping to be sharp on time. So I really need help from all the interns to kind of, stick to their timelines. They've practiced a lot, I know. But, this is your day today. So very briefly on VMentor, as many of you know and you're already associated with us, we are working towards building a global mentoring organization. We are problem solvers, whether it's corporates, educational businesses, or MSMEs. What we strive is to really work around the founders, the owners, the passionate investors, and see what problems do they face. We all recognize that they have core strengths in their business, in their own capability, and that's where they have got products and services and customers, but they need help in some of the areas for a more holistic growth, what we call as supporting accelerated growth. So that's what VMentor does. Talking about the three business verticals that we have the education business vertical, where we are focusing on our MBA students and engineering students to make them employable. So the employability index of our country goes up. We get better talent in the industry. And especially for MSMEs, we are very focused that MSMEs get some good talent of management and engineering students. Our second vertical in corporates, we work with some very big names in the industry, the Reliance, the Birlas, and some of the others. And we solve some of the big problems that the corporates are facing. But more thing, that I'm passionate about is the MSME, and that's what I'm going to talk more today. I think we really feel that MSME is the heart of India's growth. If India has to grow to 5 trillion economy and more, it is MSME which has to really, put that pedal, accelerate and, kind of move on and grow multiple folds. That's what we are looking to help and achieve. We are not only looking to build the business of MSME, as we are in the consulting business to provide end-to-end consulting to our MSME founders and their teams, but we are actually in the mission to build talent, build the talent of management and engineering, build the talent and help grow the MSME talent within their own organizations. That's what we as VMentor are actually looking to do. Um, you know, uh, the USP that we offer, and that's really important. And how do we differentiate ourselves from the other consulting companies? We handhold them. We really listen to them. It's not a one-way process. It's a two-way process. We give a very patient hearing to our MSME founders, try and understand where we can connect, where we can really get a feel of their pulse. What challenges are they really facing? How can we really, through a dialogue, discussion, identify those areas and work towards helping to solve some of those problems and help ease out their challenges. I think that's what we stand for. We look at outcome and matrix driven culture. So we look at setting up goals and targets with MSME, and then make sure that we work with you, handhold you, be in the process. We have a very strong project management offering that we provide to our MSME, so that we really help you implement the strategy, not only help you develop the strategy and give you some action plan, but actually take you through to the whole process. That's what VMentor typically stands for. One thing I want to highlight is that, and this would come out today as well, that of course, as business, we are commercially minded. We want to do projects. We want to earn revenue. But our big focus as we build the MSME practice is more on investment. investing in talent. Look at the 9 people that present today, our students from 2 very well-known management institutions, the Bharati Dasan Institute of Management, Trichirappalli, and the Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies in Pune. We are there to invest. We actually spend time with our mentors every week, 2 weeks. I have spent time with them. My team has spent time with them, helping them understand and navigate their project management, the whole process of doing their research and doing the summer internship. So that's what we are here to kind of put significant effort and focus on the areas that really matter to MSMEs. In the manufacturing space, look at their product and services, help them on finance, marketing and sales, IT, digital. People is coming out to a big area within MSME, that how do we really help build that people capability both at management and at the middle management level. So that's what VMentor is all about. I'll just kind of briefly just covering that, so that there's a common understanding about the organization. Maybe I'll kind of pause and get into introducing our jury members today. So the process will be that we have got jury members, and our management interns will make presentations. Typically this will be a 5 to 6 minutes presentation, followed by about 3 to 4 minutes of Q&A, where the jury members will ask question. Our MSMEs and mentors who have joined us today, a warm welcome to them as well. They would also be open to ask questions. We will be kind of doing some kind of a rating across 5 parameters. And then we break out for 10 minutes after the presentation to just kind of collate our ratings. And then we'll come and announce the 2 best interns that we see. Of course, I know everybody has put a lot of effort, and I must put this on record that in this summer, in this heat of summer, all of these guys and gals have gone out, spent time with MSMEs. They've not been afraid of visiting plants, meeting MSMEs, spending hours with them to really do their research, look at the data, analyze, and come back with the outcomes that they're going to present today. So very thankful for the work that they have done, and I hope that they benefit from this work that they have done. Let me now briefly introduce. I don't know, Mona, can we project the concerned jury member when I'm kind of talking about them? So maybe I'll take the opportunity to first introduce Sameer Sathe. Um, Sameer is a great friend of ours. Sameer is an executive vice president with Vadhwani Foundation, Advantage India. A very brief on Vadhwani. They are on a unique mission to actually, fund and help MSMEs grow their businesses. They're actually investing as an organization, non-for-profit, helping MSMEs grow. Sameer brings about 30 plus years of experience with more than 15 years in the leadership role. He is actually a big consulting expert. He spent more than 23 years with a very well-known firm called Universal Consulting. Sameer is also as chairman and member of board of advisors of quite a few companies, Global Competitive Council, We Unlearn, and Manus Labs. Sameer is a product of Mumbai University, and he's done courses from Harvard Business School, INSEAD, and MIT. So that's our first jury member, Sameer Sathe, for all of you ladies and gentlemen. I'll just go on to introduce the second member, DK Rai. So we call him fondly as DK. DK is a director with one of the auto business companies in Pune called Chape India. He is an engineer by profession from Pantnagar and an MBA from Symbiosis. He is a senior management professional and has got a P&L responsibility. He actually brings deep industry experience and has been a great advisor to us to get us an insight into the industry. So that's DK for us. Then I don't know, with Nitin and Mayank have joined, I'll quickly introduce Meenu Bhatia, our co-founder. Meenu is a very senior HR leader with more than 16 years of deep experience in strategic HR, transformational HR, and various aspects of HR, especially performance management. She's worked in multiple geographies, including US and the Southeast Asia. She's worked in some big names of companies like the Piramal, Godrej, and others. She's also, I think, the only one in our organization. She's a certified PCC and executive coach certified by the ICF. So those are the three jury members. Do we have Nitin?
Nitin is here, Sanjeev.
Okay, great. Hey, hi Nitin, welcome to the session. So Nitin, I met him a few weeks back in Hyderabad, and I think Nitin, I'm going to take liberty to introduce you as a big Nitin of Hyderabad. Uh, people fondly call him like that. Nitin is actually I think my conversation with him was more on investment and how do you pick and choose good companies. Nitin is a very passionate investor, a private investor in quite a few companies, and he has that knack of identifying good companies for investments. That's what he's expert at. Yes, he's our investor as well. Nitin is a chartered accountant, and his key skills, as I mentioned, is to really understand the businesses. So Nitin is here to kind of help us from that perspective. Mayank, do we have Mayank on the call?
Yeah. Hi, Sanjeev. I'm here.
Hey, hi, Mayank. Good morning, and thanks for
Morning.
joining. Mayank is the founder and MD of a company called Kalamkari Lifestyle. Kalamkari runs a pastry brand. It's a fusion wear, women's fashion tech company. I've been very impressed with Mayank. I've spent quite a lot of time with him recently. Passion, he's like his passion is about design, and you can guess it right. He's actually a product of one of the most famous colleges, the NIF Delhi. Um, what kind of really struck me was Mayank started doing business at the age of 19, and the kind of stories I've heard about his experience in the US market, that's really fantastic. And he's our MSME rep on the jury. So welcome, Mayank. We look forward to your contribution.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Briefly about myself. So my name is Sanjeev Tripathi. I'm the president of VMentor, looking after the MSME business. I'm a alumni of Harvard Business School, an engineer by profession, and an MBA from Goa Institute of Management. Bring about 30 odd years of experience. Worked in the Tata Group, a couple of global banks, Credit Suisse and Royal Bank of Scotland, and also with a large US multinational. So maybe with that introduction, we've taken about 13-14 minutes. Really, I'll straight away hand over to Mohana, and maybe we can start the presentation, Mohana.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So I'm Kavya. I'm from Balidas Institute of Management. Let me just quickly give an overview of the scope of my internship. Next slide, please. So yeah, the specialization I'm dealing here with is MSME marketing and sales, and the industry, two particular industry I'm concentrating is construction and engineering, and the region of the cluster is Chennai. Next slide, please. Let me just quickly go through the challenges of the construction industry. So when I had my primary research and face-to-face interview with the construction industry entrepreneurs, there were many challenges. The major ones or the common ones were the heavy dependence on word of mouth. Word of mouth is primarily the only marketing practices, and some of them followed some of them followed other practices too, but they were the traditional marketing practices such as going to a construction site and giving their visiting cards or sending a gift boxes with a traditional letter, traditional post. So all those things, when I asked them why they didn't try out mail, they said that they were not aware whether the opposite person would have received them or opened that. So they said that gift boxes with letters were a better option. And there were no social media penetration, and they were mostly not aware of government policies which could help them actually. But the major and key problem is that for pure public sector players, the construction industry which deals only with the public sector tenders and contracts, there is a recent policy from the government that is the privatization of ordnance factories. That is 39 different factories like OCF, HAF on the defense sector factories, which is situated all over the India. They have been privatizing it. So these pure public sector players are finding a very uncertain situation as their target market is being privatized. So these were main challenges faced by the construction industry. Yeah. So the suggestion what we could do is a consulting firm such as VMentor could assist these few public sector players and help them to extend their target market. So when I did a comparison with the private sector players and the public sector players. So I found out that for the private sectors, their customer segment is private schools, hospitals, colleges, and apartments. And I think consulting firms such as VMentor could help them to map these customer target market and help them to expand their businesses into the private sector and have a session with them. And we could also have a boot camp to spread the awareness of various government policies and how the website development and maintenance actually works. And since most of them are not aware of email marketing, as they said, they were not sure whether the opposite person would have opened the mail or read it. We could have a session on email marketing and how to create landing pages and give them a spread more awareness as to that. If you can also see whether the person has opened or clicked a particular link in a mail through the email marketing tools such as Mailchimp, which is actually free for free up to 10,000 contacts. So all these could be this could really help the MSME. And next slide, please. So moving on to the engineering industry. To compare engineering industry with the construction industry, engineering industry players were quite aware, not exactly fully aware, but quite more aware of the government policies and what are the marketing assistance schemes that were available and the exhibition and expos. But still, there were no social media penetration. These guys have a website, but they are not properly utilizing it. They are not deriving any insights from it. They are not looking at the data they get from the analytics or Google Analytics or anything. They are actually willing to outsource it to a third party to maintain the websites. And these guys are still into word of mouth, but they also do store to store sales. So it's basically still the traditional marketing practices. Next slide, please. So some suggestions here could be like these MSMEs can adopt the account-based marketing. So for engineering industries, they could set up a LinkedIn account and find out, search the target companies and identify the key decision makers in that particular company. And then they can use tools like Apollo.io or other like Lucia to scrap their email IDs and then send out, add them to the email marketing list, email campaign list, and then send out mails. Then you can also get the contact numbers using the scrapping tools and cold calls. And like they could start this practice of account-based marketing using LinkedIn. Even this you can do without any major, you can buy a link sales navigator, but you can also do it with your normal LinkedIn account. So this is also cost efficient. And we can have a boot camp and webinar on Google Analytics and how to actually derive insights from it, so that they have more knowledge as to how to work with the website and everything. And then again, boot camp and common policies and website development could be helpful for them. So I've also taken an approach and checked out the LinkedIn presence of the MSMEs. So I got their LinkedIn data from Fundota and other Apollo.io, other great tools, and just reached out to them. So what I observed, the three key observations were micro businesses are not in LinkedIn. So the small and medium enterprises, most of them have a LinkedIn page, but only 2 or 3 employees from each of these companies are actually part of the LinkedIn community and they're active. But whoever was active and whoever I reached out to, most of the sample people, most of the people from the sample segment actually were very quick in responding, and they were very eager to part of the research, and they answered a lot of questions. They were eager to know about these things. So LinkedIn presence, it's all about LinkedIn presence. And after the primary and secondary research, I came up with this thing called Marketing in a Box, which is a step-by-step guide for the MSMEs. So this is like what can all these businesses do at every stage of their business. So for the step 1, it actually deals with building a brand. This deals with like identifying your target market and building your brand around it. That is your brand logo, tagline, choosing the brand logo and tagline which resonates with your target market the most. And then identifying your marketplace deals with essentially identifying online or offline channels where your target market is most populated and active and trusted. So then building a marketing strategy around it. Then is the step 3 is establish your presence. Establish your presence deals with developing a website with about us, contact us, success stories, and all those pages, landing pages to instill confidence among your target audience, and also creating social media accounts. So if you are a B2B, you can create a LinkedIn account and engage with your target audience in the LinkedIn pages, groups, posts, and just establish your brand and your presence there. You And then when you are established your presence and derive insights from Google Analytics, and then you can go for promoting. So promoting has a lot of app options. We can choose the which one is very beneficial to a particular suits or particular type of business. It deals with like content marketing, influencer marketing, cross promotions. For content marketing that and website development, there is tools called SEMrush and Uber Suggest, which gives you the keywords, and SEMrush even allows you to compare your website with your competitor websites and see how well you are performing against them. And all these are can be done for free, so we can educate the MSMEs on these two. And the next slide, please. So the last slide deals with the recommendation and opportunities for VMentor as an organization. So VMentor could target young entrepreneurs. As from my research, I found that young entrepreneurs are more aware and more willing to test out new methods, and they are already aware of basic digital marketing practices and key government policies. And engineering industry overall seems to be a better fit than the construction industry on various aspects. And also LinkedIn could be considered as a mode of reaching out to small medium enterprises to learn more about them. So thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you so much, Kavya. Thank you. Any questions for Kavya from the jury members?
Kavya, so what was the sample size of organizations that you studied here?
So for the face-to-face interviews, it was around 15 MSMEs, and for the LinkedIn, I reached out to 20 MSMEs.
Okay, so what was the overall objective? Was it to kind of say that how should VMentor position itself with these MSMEs, or how should the MSMEs position themselves as far as their business is concerned?
So it's a mixture of actually both, but the major objective was how VMentor could utilize this opportunity.
Okay, got it.
Any more questions to Kavya?
I have a comment again.
Yeah, please, Nitin.
One of the first things that people do today, if they have an opportunity, is they get onto LinkedIn and look for the company. And I myself have seen that many companies, they just have zero presence on LinkedIn. And they can't attract proper talent unless they have a good presence on LinkedIn today. So what Kavya is talking about, an enterprise's so-called social presence is very important, and that's a great point.
Thank you.
Kavya, hi, this is Samir. One quick question. What's your view on any insights on how SMEs are, or whether SMEs are using WhatsApp business accounts, and any insight that you can share on that?
SMEs with relate to construction and engineering, no, I don't think they are utilizing WhatsApp. WhatsApp is mostly used by CPG and like more consumer packaged goods and apparels and fashion industry. But for construction and engineering, I don't think they are using it.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's move on to the next presentation.
Yeah.
Pushkar, yeah.
May I start?
Yes, please go ahead, Pushkar.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pushkar Potwar. I'm from Symbiosis Institute of Managed Studies, Pune. So for the 2 months, yes, my specialization is marketing and sales, and I focused on leather industry in Mumbai area. So I've conducted market research surveys, spoken to some people in industry. Then I've also attended exhibitions and a Tata telecommunication based seminar. So from my 2 months of experience and research, some challenges faced by MSMEs are mentioned, which I think decision makers should focus on. Next slide, please. Yeah. So the first major thing is the lack of awareness about the industries. So I visited Dharavi in Mumbai area. So that is like the major hub for the leather products and shops. So most of the owners, or the one who sits at the shop, were the young people. And when I talk about them to the industry, so they don't have that in-depth knowledge about industry, but they are running the shop. It's like they quoted saying, "Sir, हमारा business तो चल रहा है, industry का जान के उतना क्या करेंगे?" So I was like taken aback by that, because if you don't know how the industry works or what industry you are in properly working, you won't grow eventually in the long term. it obviously is profitable for the short term because your only basics of running a business is same. But when you want to specialize and excel in that, you have to learn about the industry and everything about it. Next is the 71% business survey. That's approximately about 9 out of 13 business. They don't even have a structured marketing plan. What I mean by this is they know the 4 P's of marketing, that is product, place, price, and promotion, but they don't know how to implement that, when to implement that. So if for example, they are selling a product, but they don't know what price and what kind of customers they have to set to. So they are just setting a price, and that is same for everyone. That might not be profitable for them because they have to learn how to segment different products and for different people. So the third is only dependent on physical promotion of products, like Kavya mentioned. Word of mouth is still the majority of them are using. There is no utilization of digital platforms properly and IT services. One thing I can from this is when I attended that exhibition for SME chambers. So the president also mentioned that after their tie-ups with Adobe, all the invitations for the events are being sent through WhatsApp and digital medium. So what this has done is this has cut down the huge cost of printing invitations and invitation card drastically. Next, the last would be inefficiency in the leather manufacturing industry. So leather manufacturing industry is constantly being targeted with the pollutants and the pollution that it creates. Basically, the tanning, that is a basic process that makes leather non-perishable. So it is the most popular method of tanning is chrome tanning, which uses chromium 3 for its treatment. Since chromium 3 is indispensable, what organization or what consultants or any advisors could do is find a cost-effective way to cut down on the amount of chromium released. So that could be the one major point we could add here. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for recommendation, I divided in 3 parts. The first would be the awareness. So in previous presentation, we also saw that government schemes and aid, they are the major boost by the government given to the MSME organization. And if the MSMEs are not aware about it, then it's a total waste of opportunity. So being a consultant or being a leadership position, one should always ensure that the public and the organization are aware of these schemes and how they can make the most out of it. The next would come sustainable practices and benefits. So sustainable practices means like paperless products. You can go digital, so that would cost operating cost. Then it increases customer base, because when you say you are in sustainable business, many group of people are supporting you, so you get increased customer base. Then in addition to companies profitability, this could also like really make a difference to the world. Since you are gaining from society, it's only fair that you give society something back also. Next would be the marketing and digital plan. So a proper marketing plan in place would always be beneficial. How to use Instagram properly, how to implement Facebook ads, Twitter ads, in previous LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn ads is like a boost for the corporate and corporate sector. Most of the corporates and big players are there only, so you get proper interaction with them there. IT and IT enabled services. So for example, Tata Telecommunication, they are in IT enabled services. So they are providing a digital platform for MSME issues. So one could also target and vision in these areas, so that the digital and IT enabled services are more visible to the MSMEs. Then the last would be the best practices. So these are the practices that would keep your company in a long-term position. And some of the best practices from previous case studies you can mention, or one of the best companies, what kind of activities they are taking underway, and you can follow that. So some like lean manufacturing and preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance you can do so that you wouldn't get a lot of labor or a lot of machine cost at a single time, and you can divide it in different parts. So yeah, this is from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pushkar. Any question for Pushkar? Pushkar, one question from me. Any specific strategy or marketing strategy would you suggest for leather industry per se, given what you saw in the Mumbai market? Some of the suggestions you gave are pretty generic, and obviously each of the companies can deploy, but what specific they can do for their kind of industry?
So in leather industry, sir, I have seen that most of them have that website, but that website is not quite fully developed. It's shabby, and their knowledge is up to the mark, but it's not that you have, for excelling something, you have to get that proper knowledge. So they don't have that proper knowledge base, and they're, some of them are quite reluctant to not grow. They're like, sir, if it's going, business is running good, we don't want to grow to this. So that there must be some kind of motivation or some kind of encouragement from our side, so that these small businesses, they change their mindset to grow to the next level.
Okay.
So Pushkar,
I have one question.
Sorry,
the companies which you interviewed, are they into B2B, B2C, or both?
Some of them, like majority of them, are into B2C only sectors, and B2B, there are only few, not in Dharavi. Most of them are B2C, like customer centric. They are on Instagram page and something like that. And the B2B, they are like huge exporters and marketing industry like that. So for B2B,
you also said,
yeah, yes sir,
that they have no industry knowledge. By that, did you mean they don't know what their competition is?
No, not only competition. Competition is pretty basic. Like I said, the young people are sitting on the shop, so they don't know how the process of leather is affecting nature, or they don't know what are the best practices currently practicing in the world. So they have that narrow mindset, and they are just focusing on competition or different type of products or different type of colors. So that only limited knowledge they have.
You mean the technology?
Yeah, yes sir. So they don't have that. Yeah.
Okay, any other question to Pushkar? Sorry, Minu, you had some question.
Yeah, so my question was, what is the biggest problem this industry is facing currently? Like that one area which, if they are able to sort out.
So basically, ma'am, from my research, I found out that most of these are
not
getting.
From the...
Yeah, go ahead.
So most of these industries are getting objection from NGOs for their leather use from animals and stuff. And the second is the pollution. So if we, otherwise the leather industry is biggest industry in the world. Even the exports are doing good, even the production is doing good. But the thing is, due to pollution and due to use of animals leather, this industry is getting a huge setback from NGOs and other non-profitable organizations. That's why the government has to set some rules and regulation and impose fine on organizations. So this hinders the growth of the small and micro businesses also.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my focus area is business process development, and I worked in the manufacturing industry. So I would like to share a few issues faced by the MSMEs, which I personally worked on with, and the recommendations for that. So first one is poor production planning. So for this issue, my recommendation would be like analyzing the production capacity properly and scheduling accordingly, and keeping the equipments and machineries ready before taking any order, and proper scheduling of each process steps is very important. And there is a lot of softwares available for the scheduling production processes. MSMEs can use that. And the next would be implementing the SMED. So SMED is a technique where it can reduce the change over time. So next key issue which I found is adapting to the changes in the demand. So for that, understanding the customer's order fulfillment can be used to predict the demand of the product. So, and analyzing the factors that affect the demand, even if it is a smaller one, it can bring a great change to the demand. So proper measurement method is required to collect the data while forecasting the demand. Next slide, please. The next is inconsistent tracking of inventory. For that, using the adequate software, there are a lot of free softwares available for managing the inventory. So like Transact, they are producing the free software. So using adequate software might be helpful, and categorizing the inventory based on the priority. There may be a number of products produced by the industry in a company, but categorizing the priority like ABC inventory managing method can be useful to manage the inventory. And fine tuning the forecasting forecasting the demand helps us to improve the inventory managing, and tracking the stock on every cycle and automating as much as possible can be seen as an improvement. The next is inefficient order management. So for this economic, I've seen most of the MSMEs are not following the economic order quantity, so that could be helpful to improve on this side. And then the data which they're collecting from the customers based on the requirements, that should be reliable, and it should be conformance with the customers, so that the order can be done accurately. The next is orders based on the customer requirement schedule, which I've discussed before. And then consolidating the order channels, whatever the products they are producing, the raw materials required for these products, consolidating all the orders and the quantity required for producing a product can be ordered in a single time, so that the confusion and the cost can be reduced. Next is scaling the business. Like Prithviraj said, most of the MSME are not encouraging themselves to grow their business. So for scaling the business, investing in suitable technology would be very much helpful. So they are not aware of technology be able to improve their processes. And then next, capitalizing the core offering and standardizing the process. They should much focus on their key product, and focusing much will help us to improve their business. Because and hiding their weaknesses, it might be helpful. And then overcoming the cash constraints. For the cash constraints, using the different government schemes can be helpful, like Lean Six Sigma production scheme can be, the MSME can get loan from the government. So using that, and balancing the scale between quantity and quality. So balancing, I've worked on with 2 companies. So they are compromising quality in the place of quantity. So if they are producing 12,000 units per day, the defect rate is 10%, and they are wasting 1,200 products. So understanding the nature of product and production, setting the production system accordingly will be helpful. Thank you.
Oh, super quick, Kaushik. Thank you. Thanks so much. Any question to Kaushik? Kaushik, one question from me. We all know that, in manufacturing, the large companies, corporates, and probably the tier ones are already using a lot of artificial intelligence and, feeding the data of manufacturing into systems and analyzing. Do you see any of that kind of traction coming to MSME because of demand from their corporates, clients, or nothing is happening in that space?
I think nothing is happening. Even a basic ERP, they're not following. Yeah, they're not using simple softwares. The cluster which I visited, they are not even aware. These are the methods that they can follow to improve their process. So that's
they don't see any usage of data at all.
Data
of what's being generated.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question to Kaushik?
Did you actually go and see these processes happening
yes, ma'am.
live?
I worked on
okay.
with,
How many companies did you go to?
I've visited 15 companies, out of which only 2 companies gave me the required data, so I can analyze it deeply and go through it. So only 2 companies I visited.
Okay.
I think the objective menu of his project was to actually do some statistical analysis and do some kind of a tool usage. But unfortunately, I think the challenge he faced was not getting data at all.
Yes.
Probably that was the big constraint for Kaushik.
And so any secondary research you were able to do around this subject?
Yes, ma'am. I've done regarding what are all the analysis that I can perform for tracking their root cause analysis for their problems. So these things which I've done.
All right.
Great. Thank you.